What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Rory's Infidelity Stories. Female, hit me with an email. I cheated on my husband with one of his friends, and now I don't know what to do. I want him back. Life is terrible without him. Let's get into it. I made a huge mistake, and now I'm caught in such a fucked up situation. I don't know what to do anymore. I just want advice, so please don't be mean. Just try to give some good old advice. This is a long story. I made a huge mistake, and I'm sorry. Just wanted to get that off my chest. All right. Me, 23-year-old female, and my husband, 26-year-old male, have been married for about 3 months, but we moved together ever since my sophomore year in high school. It was his senior year. We've done everything together. We went to college. We made sure that I would go to the same school. He even turned down a better scholarship to go to the school that I had a better chance of getting into, since he was one of the smart kids and I was one of the more average students. And when he finished, immediately started working so that he could support us, and I dropped out because he knew I hated school. So you done had this man switch schools, and you weren't even gonna finish what you started anyway. He could have had a better. He worked as a software engineer right now, unnamed for obvious reasons. Sorry for the long background, but I just wanted to show that I do love him with everything in my being and everything he's done for me, and I wouldn't give him up for anything. I stay at home and take care of the typical cleaning and cooking and the house maintenance. So we have a good relationship, and we both put in a lot of work to make sure things stay afloat. Before I get into this, I should say that my physical attraction to him wasn't the same as when we were in college. Ever since he started working, he started to stop working out, and he doesn't come to the gym with me as often. He's not fat or anything, but it's obvious he doesn't have much as muscle as he used to in college. Like his six-pack, that went away. I used to love it. It's long gone now. Maybe less working out reduces testosterone, also because his sex isn't as frequent when we used to have it all the time. And it's not like it used to be. Starting a couple of months ago, one of his better friends, and I will call him David, started coming over to hang out. Usually I don't like his friends in our place so frequently, but me and David clicked instantly. David and I hit it off, and my husband was so happy to see that I finally got along with one of his friends. But then, as usual, he ended up going back to work and spending less and less time with me, which honestly might have been one of the reasons I cheated. It's not the reason, it's the excuse. When we were about to get married, he promised me he wouldn't fall out of touch like this, like in the movies, and he wouldn't be able to abandon me for work. Abandon you for work? What are you thinking about? Life ain't a movie. The man is working to put a roof over your head and make sure your life is good. Like, what the David started swinging by a couple of hours before my husband got home to wait for him comfortably, so we started hanging out. David, you ain't slick. We did everything together that I felt like my husband should have been taking his time to do with me. We binged Netflix, talked about so much about movies that we both like. Whenever people saw us, they said I looked happier, and that to the point I think we were together, that they would think we were together. David started swinging by to hang out with me more than my husband, so he came earlier and earlier, and soon as it just began, and soon it was just at the beginning of the day, as long as he didn't have classes, he's working on his master's. One morning when he came by and we started to binge Netflix, I didn't have much clothes on, usually because he came in at like 9. He came slightly earlier than expected. But he came. You ain't go run to put clothes on when he was coming in. First of all, why he coming there when your husband leave? To binge watch Net. Man, he scheming and you scheming. But I was already so comfortable with him, it didn't matter. I only had a big shirt on and some underwear. And I didn't even realize it until it was too late that I wasn't even wearing a bra. So I felt awkward. Then David, as a joke, took his clothes off and only had a shirt on and his boxers and climbed into bed next to me saying it was undies time. And he was abnormally close, and I ended up moving. He ended up moving in even closer. He put his hand on my thigh, and before I could think of anything, he turned around and started grinding an erection onto me and I kissed him. I didn't intend for it to go further than that, but he was everything my husband wasn't anymore. He was still built, and I could tell he really wanted me more than my own husband. So we ended up having sex. I trusted him, of course, so we never used protection. Throughout the day, he gave me an opportunity to feel ways and do things I hadn't done in a long time. I thought I would feel real bad right after, but I didn't. It was only really excited that I was desired and wanted and satisfied again. Me and David continued this relationship for months, and I ended up giving him the nickname Hubby because I really felt like he was my true husband the way that he treated me. But of course, he started getting possessive like men do, and this is where the huge problem begins. Whenever we had sex, he wanted my wedding ring off, and I ended up losing it, and my husband immediately noticed because I made a point to never take it off. But that was only the first thing. David told me to stop kissing my husband or treating him like he's my husband at all. And I did it, and I treated my husband like shit because he manipulated me into believing he was a shitty husband and a person for leaving me so alone all the time. I went back on birth control, and we never used protection because he didn't like it, and I never objected because I just enjoyed the feeling of being taken again. I stopped kissing my husband. I put as much distance between us in the bed as possible, and I made a point. See that, fellas and females? That's how you know when your person's not having sex with you anymore, and you guys used to always being at it. One of them is stepping out. Just keep that in mind. They don't even desire you no more because they're fulfilling their desires with another person. I made a point to never have sex with him no matter what. I called him fat and ugly when I got angry or upset, and they go to name calling for no reason. See, those are the little signs that you should pick up on if you're in a relationship or you're married and these things are happening. And it just sent my marriage into ruins. David was still around. I guess my husband realized how lovey-dovey I was with David because he started making accusations. And of course, David got possessive again. So when my husband told him he couldn't come over anymore, he should have stopped that, nipped that shit in the bud when it started. You ain't got to come and be home and wait for me to get home. Nigga, you ain't my wife. She already here. The fuck? He sent my husband months worth of pictures and videos and messages we had made and sent each other as some kind of sick payback. When my husband got home, he was infuriated and he screamed and threw things. I had no idea what to do. I realized that David didn't really care about me as much as my husband did, and if he was willing to expose me like that, duh. He started yelling about how hard he was working as if I didn't help around the house. Help around the... And he broke a lot of my personal items. He was crying in the corner and talking about how he wanted to kill himself. And I was so scared because he kept asking me questions, half yelling, half crying about how often and how long it had been going on. And I broke it down and started crying and told him everything. He looked at the videos on his phone, getting angrier and angrier because I told David I loved him and that he was better than my husband and other things that insulted him. In the video, he saw that we were having sex in our marital bed and that we never used a condom and that he was always finishing inside of me. And I could see something that just broke him because he was my first back in high school, and I didn't let him do anything until we got married. Got this man busting up on you, and your husband couldn't take the condom off until you got married. He kept scratching at his skin and harming himself in weird ways and insulting himself like I would insult him when I got angry, and I was scared he was going insane. Thankfully, the neighbors called the police due to the yelling. Although they took his side a little more than mine, they asked me if I had somewhere to stay, so I don't know if